If you've ever tried to make money online, you're probably familiar with the cycle. You watch endless tutorials, you test a bunch of things, and you just burn through cash. So in this explainer, we're going to break down a framework that pretty much flips all the common advice on its head to show you what actually works in dropshipping. All right, let's get into it.
Man, this feeling, it's just so common, right? It's a starting point for so many of us who try to build something online. You think you found the secret, you get all excited, and then you just end up right back where you started, but with less money. The frustration is so real. But you know what? The shift that actually leads to success, it's often way simpler and way more profound than you think. Okay, so before we can get to the solution, we first have to really understand the problem. Let's start by tearing down the biggest myth in dropshipping, the one that keeps almost everyone stuck in that cycle of failure. The old way, the one you see absolutely everywhere, is all about finding a cool or winning product and then desperately asking, okay, who can I sell this to? This is the classic recipe for failure. It's how you end up trying to sell some neat-looking wireless phone charger and just end up with a much lighter wallet. The new way, it flips that script completely. You start with a person who has a very specific problem. And this right here, this is the core idea that changes absolutely everything. The moment you stop chasing trendy products and start focusing on serving a real person with a real problem, you go from guessing to actually solving. So to be clear, this isn't just some small tweak to your strategy. It's a fundamental, ground-up shift in your entire approach. So, how do we actually take this person-first idea and turn it into a proven business structure? Well, it all comes down to something called the middleman model. Now, the key thing to get here is that this isn't some new, flashy online hack. No way. This is arguably the most proven business strategy in the entire world. You're not the inventor, you're not the manufacturer. You are simply the crucial link between someone's problem and its solution. And for making that connection happen, you take a cut. Simple as that. I mean, just think about it for a second. When you buy something from Amazon, did they make that product? Probably not. When you take an Uber, does Uber own the car? Of course not. These huge, massive companies are just middlemen. They connect suppliers with people who have a demand, and they do it at an incredible scale. Dropshipping is just your way of applying this exact powerful model to e-commerce. And the opportunity here, it's just mind-blowing. E-commerce sales are projected to shoot past $8 trillion by 2027. By acting as that middleman, you are positioning yourself to take a small piece of an absolutely enormous pie. And you can do it without the massive risk of creating products or holding inventory. Okay, let's dive into our first major strategic shift and see how this all builds. It's all about putting the person way ahead of the product. So instead of hunting for a winning product, you're looking for a community with a problem that just won't go away. Think about new parents who are just desperate to get their baby to sleep through the night, or dog owners who are constantly worried sick about their pet's separation anxiety. What about all the office workers dealing with chronic back pain from sitting at a desk all day? These are real communities with real ongoing needs. And here's the best part. You don't have to guess if they'll spend money. You can actually validate it. First, just find that community with a problem. Second, you can head right over to the meta ad library and see if other companies are already advertising solutions to them. If you see ads that have been running for weeks, that's a huge sign people are buying. And third, and this is counterintuitive, if you see 3 or 4 other brands in that space, that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. It confirms there's a healthy, active market ready for you to serve. Okay, so you found your community. The next shift, well, it might feel a little wrong, especially if you're a perfectionist. It's all about speed. So many people get stuck here. They spend weeks, sometimes months, obsessing over their store design, the fonts, the colors, trying to build this perfect store for a customer they've never even spoken to. This quote just nails the mistake. Thinking about what might work gets you nowhere. You have to launch something and let the market give you the real answers. Let's put it simply, every single day you spend trying to make things perfect is a day you're not getting real feedback from actual customers. And that feedback, that's the only thing that actually matters. Your job isn't to launch a perfect store. It's to launch a good enough store fast, so the market can start telling you what it really wants. So, you've launched, you're making some sales, but then things start to slow down. This brings us to the final, and honestly, the most powerful shift: how to scale intelligently.
This is such a classic problem. You find something that's working, so you start pumping more money into the ad budget, and for a little while, sales go up. But then, inevitably, your costs start to rise, your profit margins get squeezed, and bam, you hit a plateau. So, what do you do now?
Well, the answer isn't what most people do, which is just throwing more money at the same audience. The smarter move is to step back and realize that a single product can solve different problems for completely different types of people. You just have to find them.
Here's a perfect example. Let's take noise-canceling headphones. Okay, you could sell them to a professional working from home who needs to focus. That's one customer, one angle. But what about a college student in a super loud dorm trying to study? Or a new parent who would do anything for just 5 minutes of silence? Or maybe a night shift worker who has to sleep during the day? It's the same exact product, but for completely different customers with 4 different problems. That's how you scale. So ultimately, it really all comes down to this one question. Are you going to keep chasing hot products and fleeting trends? Or are you going to find a real group of people, understand their problems deeply, and become the go-to middleman for their solutions? That shift, well, that's the one that makes all the difference.